Hello, squirrel listeners. It's very early in the morning, or might not be all that early now, but I woke up very early, 5:30ish. Crazy. Nah, it's like 7:40 now, so I hope I don't go to sleep on you. Chapter 11, Extract from Letter to Gilbert 2 weeks later. Esme Taylor's engagement to Dr. Lennox Carter is announced. By all I can gather from various bits of local gossip, I think he decided that fateful Friday night that he wanted to protect her and save her from her father and her family, and perhaps from her friends. Her plight evidently appealed to his sense of chivalry. Trix persists in thinking I was the means of bringing it about, and perhaps I did take a hand, but I don't think I'll ever try an experiment like that again. It's too much like picking up a lightning flash by the tail. I really don't know what got into me, Gilbert. It must have been a hangover from my old detestation of anything savoring of Pringleism. It does seem old now. I've almost forgotten it, but other folks are still wondering. I hear Miss Valentine Cordelow says she isn't at all surprised I have won the Pringles over, because I have such a way with me. And the minister's wife thinks it's an answer to the prayers she put up. Well, who knows but that it was. Jen Pringle and I walked part of the way home from school yesterday and talked of ships and shoes and sealing wax. It's a quote. Of almost everything but geometry. We avoid that subject. Jen knows I don't know too much about geometry, but my own wee bit of knowledge about Captain Myram balances that. I lent Jen my Fox's book of martyrs. I hate to lend a book I love. It never seems quite the same when it comes back to me. But I love Fox's Martyrs only because dear Mrs. Allen gave it to me for a Sunday school prize years ago. I don't like reading about martyrs because they always make me feel petty and ashamed to admit. I hate to get out of bed on frosty mornings and shrink from a visit to the dentist. Well, I'm glad Esme and Trix are both happy. Since my own little romance is in flower, I'm all the more interested in other people's. A nice interest, not curious or malicious, but just glad there's such a lot of happiness spread about. Let me get something to wet my whistle. I have no lights because I left them on yesterday. Oh my goodness. After I had them charged up and they were so bright and gorgeous. So once again, they're in the charger. So by today at 5, hopefully they'll be nice and bright again. It's still February, and on the convent roof, the snows are sparkling to the moon, only it isn't a convent, just the roof of Mr. Hamilton's barn. But I'm beginning to think only a few more weeks till spring, and a few more weeks till summer, and holidays, and Green Gables, and golden sunlight on Avonlea meadows, and a gulf that will be silver at dawn and sapphire at noon, and crimson at sunset, and you. Little Elizabeth and I have no end of plans for spring. We're such good friends. I take her milk every evening, and once in so long she is allowed to go for a walk with me. We have discovered that our birthdays are on the same day, and Elizabeth flushed a vinest rosy red with the excitement of it. She's so sweet when she blushes. Ordinarily, she is far too pale and doesn't get any pinker because of the new milk. Only when we come back, our twilight trysts with the evening winds, does she have a lovely rosy color in her little cheeks. Once she asked me gravely, Will I have lovely creamy skin like yours when I grow up, Miss Anne Shirley? If I put buttermilk on my face every night? Buttermilk seems to be the preferred cosmetic in Spook's Lane. I have discovered that Rebecca Dew uses it. She has bound me over to keep it secret from the widows because they would think it too frivolous at her age. The number of secrets I have to keep at Wendy Poplar's is aging me before my time. I wonder if I buttermilked my nose, if it would banish those 7 freckles. By the way, did it ever occur to you, sir, that I had a lovely creamy skin? If it did, you never told me. And have you realized to the full that I am comparatively beautiful? Because I've discovered that I am. What is it like to be beautiful, Miss Shirley? Asked Rebecca Dew gravely the other day when I was wearing my new biscuit-colored Voile. I've often wondered, said I. But you are beautiful, said Rebecca Dew. I've never thought you would be sarcastic, Rebecca, I said reproachfully. I didn't mean to be sarcastic, Miss Shirley. You are beautiful, comparatively. Oh, comparatively, said I. Look in the sideboard glass, said Rebecca Dew, pointing. Compared to me, you are... Well, I was, but I hadn't finished with Elizabeth. One stormy evening when the wind was howling along Spook's Lane, we couldn't go for a walk, so we came up to my room and drew a map of Fairyland. Elizabeth sat on my blue donut cushion to make her higher and looked like a serious little gnome as she bent over the map. By the way, no phonetic spelling for me. Gnome is far eerier and fairier, and gnome is spelled with a G, silent G, than gnome without an G. Our map isn't complete yet. Every day we think of something more to go in it. Last night we located the house of Witch of the Snow and drew a triple hill, covered completely with wild cherry trees in bloom behind it. By the way, I want some wild berry trees near our house of dreams. Why, Gilbert, of course we will have a tomorrow on the map, located east of today and west of yesterday, and we have no end of times in Fairyland. Springtime, long time, short time, new moon time, good night time. Next time, but no last time, because that is too sad. That is too sad, a little. Too sad. Hang on. That is too sad, a little for Fairyland. Old time, young time, because if there is an old time, there ought to be a young time too. Mountain time, because that was such a fascinating sound. Gosh, I am getting sleepy, y'all. Nighttime and daytime, but no bedtime or school time. Christmas time, no only time, because that also is too sad. But lost time because it is so nice to find it. Fast time, slow time. Okay, sometime, good time, fast time, slow time, half past kissing time, going home time, and time immemorial, which is one of the most beautiful phrases in the world, and we have cunning little red arrows everywhere, pointing in the different times. I know Rebecca Dew thinks I'm quite childish, but oh, Gilbert, don't let's ever grow too old and wise. No, not too old and silly for fairyland. Rebecca Dew, I feel sure, is not quite certain that I had an influence for good in Elizabeth's life. She thinks I encourage her. In being fanciful. One evening when I was away, Rebecca Dew took the nail to her and found her already at the gate, looking at the sky so intently that she never heard Rebecca's anything but fairy footfalls. "I was listening, Rebecca," she explained. "You do much listening," said Rebecca disapprovingly. Elizabeth smiled remotely, austerely. Rebecca Dew didn't use those words, but I know exactly how Elizabeth smiled. Okay. "You would be surprised, Rebecca, if you knew what I hear sometimes," she said in a way that made Rebecca Drew's flesh creep on her bones, or so she avers. But Elizabeth is always touched with fairy, and what can be done about it? Your very honest Anne. P.S. Never, never, never shall I forget Cyrus Taylor's face when his wife accused him of crocheting. But I shall always like him because he hunted for those kittens, and I like Esme for standing up for her father under the supposed wreck of all her hopes. PS2. There was that other one was PS1. PS2, I've put in a new pen, and I love you because you aren't pompous like Dr. Carter. And I love you because you haven't got sucky. Wait a minute. Because you haven't, no. Pompous like Dr. Carter. I love you because you haven't got sticky out ears like Johnny. And the very best reason of all, I love you for just being Gilbert. And that's all. And that was pretty short, but I'm pretty sleepy. So we'll stop there. So that was chapter 11. These don't have titles. They just have numbers of the chapters. So that's it. Today's Monday. Yay! So live at 5. And today's a holiday. Labor Day. I do believe. Still working on my extreme knitting. I don't know if 2 of these is going to make a back for this chair or not, but I hope so. Thought about a cushion. If it doesn't work out, we'll see. Be sweet, don't be ugly, and hope to see you live at 5. My vampire steak. I won't have that then, probably. Bye. Love you bunches.